Hey, blast off, I can talk my ass off. Hey, smoke you what you seen and I'll tell you what I saw. Hollywood, what you think and I'll tell you what I thought. And we can talk about it all when we here on Trash Talk.
What's up? What it do? We is back.
We made it.
We made it, Smoke Dog.
What up?
Can you tell me what number this is, my friend?
It happens to be 47.
Want to welcome everybody back to the 47th episode of the Trash Talk Podcast. And y'all, happy holidays to everybody.
We is in the holiday season.
And it's a great time to be alive, man.
It is, ain't it?
It definitely is. Guys, 52 weeks are in a year, and we're at episode 47. So we're really close to a year's worth of Trash Talk.
We are right at it, because we started around Christmas time.
Absolutely. If you guys want to go check out the second episode of the Trash Talk Podcast, we were actually bundled up, not together, but we were actually warm, sitting next to a fireplace. It was cold and this time of year. So
yeah, it was.
It's definitely making a full circle. But guys, we have an episode today.
We do. We got an episode and a episode. And we got an episode.
Yeah, we got an episode.
We just got episodes for you.
Do you know anything about a third eye?
Yeah, I mean, I know about the pineal gland.
Okay, so we'll get into it.
We'll get into that.
Right. So if you guys just stick around, we're going to be talking about your third eye. And should you open it? Is it a smart thing to do?
That's a good question, as a matter of fact.
We'll get into it.
Yeah, we will.
But anyway, let's go ahead and get into these segments, Smoke Dizzle.
What up?
All right, so we got to get into some OMG and some
WTF.
Who goes first this week?
It's my turn to go first because I got a mug shot for you fools today. But first,
oh Lord,
WTF.
Let's hear what's going on in the terrible state of Florida.
It's not the great state of Florida.
Terrible state.
All right, where does this come from?
How good are the Dolphins doing right now?
Not good.
How good is Jacksonville doing right now?
Not good.
How good is Tampa Bay doing right now?
Mediocre.
Terrible state of Florida. Go ahead.
All right, this comes from clickorlando.com. And that's a really generic name, isn't it? Well, you call your website Click Orlando.
Hey, you want some generic news? Come on down to Click Orlando.
All right. The title of this one is Mostly Naked Florida Man Accused of Spreading Feces During School Break-In.
Oh, my God. Continue, please. Please.
I don't know if we should. No.
Wait, say it again?
Mostly Naked Florida Man.
So he had underwear on.
I'm guessing. We're going to get into this.
Okay, go ahead.
And I did not proofread this one, so we're going to expose the business real quick. Our production meetings last like 20 seconds.
Literally.
All right. Seminole County, Florida. A man was naked from the waist down. When
he had a tank top on. He had a tank top on.
And nothing else.
That's it.
He was like Porky Pig.
Yeah. He might have had on socks. Go ahead, man.
All right. From the waist down, when he broke into an elementary school, spreading feces in the process, according to the Seminole County Sheriff's Office. Deputies said a school resource officer at Bear Lake Elementary School noticed signs of a break-in on August 26th. Surveillance video showed a man later identified as 25-year-old Christian Dominic Shea jumping a fence on the property around 2:10 a.m.
Damn.
I'm glad he didn't do this when there was kids there.
2:20. Oh, okay, so it was.
Yeah, it was in the middle of the night. Yeah. Deputies said they found cake frosting on drawers,
what?
desk, and chairs in a classroom. They were frosting fingerprints across the floor as well. There were frosting fingerprints.
This is kind of out there. Keep going. I want to hear it.
The opened cake container was found in the classroom's trash can, along with a child's sweatshirt that was covered in frosting and feces, according to the affidavit. Handprints and footprints of fecal matter were found at the window ledge in the classroom where Shea broke in.
So this guy First of all, before we get any further, can we play a game of drugs or mental illness?
Well, that's a tough one.
Definitely drugs.
Let's see when they found the dude, what they said. Okay, never mind. Handprints and, we already got that one. A stapler was found placed in the toilet.
Yeah.
And a TV remote that was covered in feces and frosting was located in the bathroom as well.
Okay, I have to just state the obvious here. Is this fake news?
It's Click Orlando. Reputable source.
Sure, clickbait Orlando. That's what it sounds like.
I wonder if this is like one of those Onion or Newser reports.
Yeah, media takeout type stuff. That's weird, man. Think about this.
Well, they gave a name. So, hold on. I'm gonna, after we get to the end of this, I'm gonna look it up and see. Shay was located. I mean, there were other ones too. They found feces on a laptop.
Oh my
blah,
God.
blah blah. Shay was on the campus until about 4:30 a.m. records show. During the investigation, and deputies said employees at the school recognized Shay as being involved in previous incidents. Shay was located Friday at his home in Apopka.
Okay, definitely fake news now.
That sounds fake.
Definitely.
There might be Apopka.
A pop?
Yeah.
How do you spell it?
Apopka.
Okay, I was about to say, if it was a poop,
that would have been more fitting.
Yeah.
He told deputies that he was the man in the surveillance video, and he believes he committed the crime because he smoked a marijuana blunt.
Oh, get out of here.
And had been laced with an unknown substance.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Usually, if we continue through the story, we find out if it's drugs or mental illness. But that sounds like it could be a cover-up.
What do you mean?
Because, well, marijuana doesn't make you run around and poop and
Frosted Flakes.
Yeah, but he sounds like he's like, oh yeah, I smoke marijuana, and he's like, well, that's not a good enough story.
It had something in it.
It definitely had something in it. There's no way I would act like this normally.
All right, so you take this story at face value. You really believe this happened?
Well, he was arrested. Charges of burglary, property damage, petty theft, and indecent exposure.
Dude, if children...
Yeah, but he was on camera, though. I mean, he didn't do it in person. But I guess it's on public property.
Private... Is that...
No, school is public property. Yes.
Are you serious?
Yes.
So anybody can go to a school?
Yeah, I mean, there are rules. I mean, like, you couldn't break into a courthouse. That's public property.
Huh.
I mean, there's still rules, governing that.
Well, look, all right, hold on. So about this Florida story guy. All right. He wakes up at 2 o'clock in the morning. Gets Porky pigged up. Frosted Flakes. Frosted ice cream. He's just putting it on random objects. He put a TV controller in the toilet.
A stapler.
And fecal matter all over the place. Okay, so we don't even need to play games of drugs and mental illness because we know exactly what it is. Marijuana cigarette with something in it. But yeah, something don't seem right about that.
All right, well.
Wait, are you Googling his name?
Yes,
Do you have his picture?
Yes.
He's black.
No, it's a white dude.
With a name like that?
Christian Dominic Shea.
Wow.
And you may be right here because, no, that was somebody with a similar name. I thought I found him on the inmate list for Dane County. Dane County's in Florida, right?
Yeah, well, when did this story happen? Was it recent, do you know?
It was, happened in September. But considering that is the only article that I find that has this story. All the others are white pages or Facebook.
We would call this questionable.
Yeah, that might be a questionable story.
Yeah.
See, maybe we should stick to the CNN or the Fox News or something like that.
But see, some would argue that those are the fake stories.
Those are slanted.
Yeah, the CNNs, the ABCs. So, I don't know, man. Just that one, we might have to do some more research on that one.
We might. If anyone knows anything about this story, please tell us because we're baffled and that may be fake news.
Absolutely.
Interesting story, though.
Yeah, dude, very interesting. But on another note, we're going to leave this terrible state of Florida down there in the terrible state of Florida, and let's get into some good old-fashioned OMG. Yes. Now, this one actually comes from a reputable source, Channel 2 Action News.
Yes, definitely real.
What is that, ABC?
No, it is WSB.
But they have to have a connection with something, right?
No, they're actually independent
really?
in Atlanta, yeah. And that's been a staple of Atlanta for a long time.
Channel 2. I'll never forget it.
Yep.
All right, so this is kind of a messed up story, but check this out. The headline is Cops. All right, Roswell couple charged. They lose custody of kids after forcing the teen to use THC drops.
Ooh.
Are you on fantasy football right now?
No, I'm trying to see if Click Orlando is a real site or not.
Okay. All right, so let me tell you. Did you catch that?
Yes, they forced a child to use THC drops.
Right. Okay.
And without it being prescribed by a doctor, that's definitely illegal.
Well, if it's in Georgia, it's illegal.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you can get THC oil in Georgia.
Have you heard? All right, let's talk about this. But remember that, because we need to bring that back up. All right. In a potential case of, do not know how to pronounce this word, Munchausen syndrome.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes. That's where a parent would actually project an illness onto your child for sympathy.
Oh.
Munchausen syndrome.
Like they'll say, well, you can't go play with the kids because you have cancer.
Yes, exactly. Or you're telling your neighbors like, oh yeah, my child is so sick, like,
and he's in there playing
yeah,
Halo.
Exactly, yeah.
So how do you pronounce it?
Munchausen syndrome.
Munchausen. All right. In a potential case of Munchausen syndrome by proxy, a Roswell couple are accused of forcing their teenage daughter to take THC drops and eat marijuana-laced brownies. Make sure we come back to that.
Okay.
All right. Jennifer and Lark Bowie faced child cruelty charges and lost custody of their 2 children after the incident, Roswell police told Channel 2 Action News. Their 14-year-old daughter did not have a prescription for THC drops. As a result, authorities said this is likely a case of
Munchausen syndrome by proxy.
By proxy, in which a caregiver makes up an illness or injury for a person under their care, according to the Mayo Clinic. According to the arrest warrants obtained by Channel 2, the boy's daughter told police her parents made her consume the THC substances. In addition, the couple were accused of dry shaving the teen's face and lying to doctors, nurses to get additional powerful pain medications.
Oh, wow.
What is dry shaving?
Dry shaving? Like actually shaving without shaving cream?
Oh, my God.
That's what I would think.
Police were tipped off about this case by the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. Due to the charges and investigation, the Division of the Family and Child Protective Services obtained custody of the teen and the sibling. I quote by the captain says, we determined there was mistreatment of the 2 children. Okay, let's break this down.
Now, before we start, just so everyone knows I'm not giving out fake information, Munchausen syndrome by proxy is a mental health problem in which a caregiver makes up or causes an illness or injury in a person under his or her care, such as a child or an elderly adult.
I think I literally just said that exact definition. But
I said that exact definition.
I just read it.
Oh, okay. It was in the story, too.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So, first of all, what do you think of this?
That sounds like a typical case of Munchausen, for sure.
All right, let's look at it. Let's play devil's advocate here. All right, let's say nobody knows your kids better than you, right? Okay. You're with your kids more than the average person would be, right? So if they're acting a certain way at home, you know that. The person outside doesn't know that. Okay, so with them doing that, you say, okay, my child acts like this at home every night. So this could potentially be some sort of disorder because you see it every night. So you self-medicate that child. Is that Munchausen because you see it as a parent.
If you really do believe that the child has this problem without significant evidence, it could be listed as Munchausen, for sure. Because you really need that evidence to be sure of, you need a doctor to tell you that the child has a problem. But if you're sitting there, like,
do you
Munchausen is typically a sympathy thing, where they're searching for sympathy from the outside world, and they're projecting something that's not actually there.
So why do you need a doctor to say, hey, this, take this as an example. Mm-hmm. It's proven THC drops and CBD drops decrease
inflammation.
Well, not only inflammation, but seizures.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
Let's say for the past 2 nights, I haven't been able to take my child to the doctor, but they're having seizures. I see it. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to give them THC drops because I know it's natural and I know it's going to cure it. Mm-hmm. The doctor doesn't know about that. Does that make it Munchausen?
I mean, it's all up to a psychologist to actually, or psychiatrist, to actually diagnose Munchausen syndrome. But, I mean, technically you could say no if the person actually does believe this is happening without a diagnosis. I mean, technically you could say that's not Munchausen. But the administration of a prescription without being prescribed to the child,
that's illegal.
Yes, that is very illegal.
Well, what about if it was a state where that drug is legal? Like, let's say this happened in Denver.
Yeah, I mean, that would be no difference than giving your kid cough syrup. But if your child did not actually have a cold or a cough.
But what if it had sniffles or sneezing? Yeah. I mean, the doctor doesn't know that, but you know that.
I mean, this is just semantics at that point.
I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm not saying what they're doing is right by any means. Yeah. I'm just saying they know their kids. I'm going on the whim that these are good parents.
Yeah. If they are, yeah, okay.
Yeah, but let's say my child has a condition from 7:00 p.m. to 4:00 a.m. They have a condition to where they shiver. Nobody sees that at school because it only happens between this specific time period.
Yeah.
So I go to my doctor, and doctor's like, I don't see nothing because it's 4:00 in the afternoon. But
it's kind of like when your car is messed up and you take it to the car shop and it doesn't do it, and there's nothing wrong here. You're like, no, there is something wrong.
As soon as you pull out the parking lot,
yes, exactly.
Yeah. But you get what I'm saying, though?
Yeah, I get that fully.
So I guess, I don't know how I'm trying to phrase this, but I'm trying to play devil's advocate. And saying,
because this could be a case where they were actually trying to treat something that they actually saw.
Right.
And in that case, it wouldn't be Munchausen.
Now, the only thing that I would say that this is Munchausen is because not only did they do it to one child, they did it to 2 children. Mm-hmm. So the chances of both of those children having the exact same symptoms and the exact same illness, that's a little weird.
It is. Unless it's a genetic disorder that
I was thinking that too
is passed along. But
now here's something crazy. All right, they said they gave her marijuana laced brownies. For people out there who don't know, I am all for marijuana to be legal.
Me too.
100%. But people underestimate how edible marijuana is probably one of the most strongest psychedelics you can take, without a doubt.
And it really affects your psyche. And there is a situation where maybe it's not good for underage children where their brain is still developing.
Yeah, that prefrontal cortex.
Mm-hmm. When your brain is still developing, you can definitely alter the chemistry of your brain by using such things, especially hallucinogens. And marijuana, as much as some people want to dispute that, is a hallucinogen, especially when it's edible.
Well, it's the psychoactive drug, which just taking the word psychoactive, it's actively making you psycho.
Yeah, well,
I know that's a literal definition,
but yeah, it is affecting your psyche.
Right.
It is active against your psyche. It can change your thought patterns. Yes.
Right. So, keep it real. And we're talking about pastor. Keep it real. Have you ever taken an edible?
No, I haven't.
Okay, I have. The worst experience I've ever had in my life.
That's what a lot of people say.
And and the reason it's different, when you smoke marijuana, it's going through your lungs. When it's a different
conveyance.
What's the word?
What's the word for
it? Freak.
Somebody's screaming it right now.
Yeah. All right, but
you idiots.
It breaks down differently.
It's a different vehicle. Yeah.
Yeah. But when you eat, all right, smoking it is smoke that is combusted that you inhale and it goes to your lungs, to your bloodstream. Now, one of the most sensitive organs in the human body is your liver. Once you eat marijuana, it's not the same as smoking it.
Yeah, because it's processed completely different through the enzymes of your liver.
I want to say it's called. It produces a different kind of chemical, like
enzymes.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Well, your liver's producing the enzyme that breaks it down completely different than if you were filtering it through your lungs and directly into your bloodstream. Yes.
Right. So if you guys out there are thinking if you smoke weed, oh yeah, I smoke weed every day, let me go eat a brownie that has 85% THC, you will not get the same effect. I'm telling you. So the reason I say that is me as a grown man, I've eaten brownies and I have literally thought I was dead. Literally. Now, I could imagine what a 14-year-old child would think.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's not good. I mean, I have no way. As much as I am for marijuana being legal and all the medical uses that come with that, and there's a lot of people out there that need it, you can't administer it to an underage child that is still developing without a doctor's consent. Because then you get into the liability of affecting your child for life.
Right. And we're going to get off OMG and WTF real quick, but you have to have Joey Diaz. He takes
the stars of death.
I mean, Joe Rogan and Ari Shaffir, they're like, how are you even standing right now?
He takes overdose levels,
and like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Hey man, you cocksucker, you want another stars of death?
That's actually a pretty good impression.
Joe Rogan,
you gotta take this.
I mean, this dude takes, just crazy astronomical amounts of THC. But we'll get off of this. But just know that if you're smoking it and it gives you that peaceful, calm, relaxing feeling, fine. If you're an adult or if you're getting it from a doctor's consent.
And if you're using that for anxiety, you can actually increase your anxiety through edibles.
Which is what the edible did to me. For, like I've said it on the podcast before, I have anxiety. And when I ate that edible, my anxiety got so bad that I had to take my anxiety medication.
I mean, it's just like any medication. It can have one effect on one person and the exact opposite effect on the other person.
Right.
You know, why some people takes an opiate and relaxes and falls asleep while other people get geeked up, you know.
I don't know if that goes all the way across the board, though.
Why do you say that?
Have you ever heard of anybody that says, oh, I drink coffee and it relaxes me?
Oh, yes, I have.
Okay, so you've heard someone say caffeine relaxes them?
Yes, I've known people who will drink coffee before bed. Yes.
Okay, what about I take Advil and it takes my headache away? Or I take Advil and I hallucinate? No, you've never heard of that.
No, not that, but it can have the opposite effect. Like someone could say, oh, I took some Advil for my headache and my headache got worse.
I will say Tylenol PMs. You know Tylenol PMs, right? If you take a Tylenol PM and it's supposed to make you go to sleep, if you fight that sleep, you will be geeked up. I'm talking about twacked out.
Yeah. Well, and that comes down to, opiates as just a general thing. A small amount of opiates for the average person will act as a stimulant, but then a larger amount will act as a depressant.
Same thing as kratom. I mean, a small amount would act as a stimulant. Yes. Same thing. All right, let's get off of the WTF. Well, hold on before we do. You said we live in this great state of Georgia. You said you can get a prescription for...
You can.
For THC, tetrahydrocannabinol.
That is the only way it's legal medically in Georgia as it stands right now is only through the oil form.
So you have to go to a doctor.
Yes, and there's not many places. There's not many dispensaries in Georgia. There's only a very small amount of places you can actually get it, and you have to find that one doctor somewhere that's going to prescribe it, and it's not very common at all.
Do you know of any dispensaries?
Not right offhand.
I want to say there's one on Little 5 Points.
Well, no. I know exactly what you're talking about. You can drive by there and it says the pot store.
And it says medical cannabis on the front.
Yes. That is not an actual medical cannabis store. When you go in there, all they sell is like books and pipes and things. They don't actually sell cannabis itself.
It's a head shop.
Yes, exactly.
So if my doctor did prescribe me legal THC oil, where would I go get it? From one of these dispensaries?
I'm sure there's one in Atlanta somewhere, but I'm not sure right offhand.
All right.
I don't know anyone that actually gets it in Georgia, so.
I feel like, all right, but now let's say it becomes legal. Mm-hmm. Every doctor's going to be prescribing it then.
Well, I wouldn't say everyone. There's always going to be old-fashioned people who are like, no, that's still wrong.
All right, so do you agree that some pharmaceutical companies, I think it's been proven, give doctors bonuses if they prescribe that?
Oh, yeah, they do.
Okay, so.
Just to prescribe their brand.
Oxycontin.
Yes, exactly.
So when marijuana becomes legal, do you think Big Pharma would be like, hey, prescribe this brand of marijuana?
Yes. There will definitely, if it's not already happening, there's definitely Fortune 500 companies that are on the rise that will be Fortune 500 that produce marijuana or produce THC oils and things like that.
Right.
They're definitely going to get to the doctors. I'm sure it's already happening in the legal states right now,
right,
where, these pharmaceutical companies like Pfizer and what's the other one? The Merck, things like that.
You got Lilly, you got Abbott,
Watson. They'll go to the doctors and give them the little the pads with their name on it, and they're like, hey, we're gonna give you a kickback for prescribing our brand.
That's crazy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. But all right, let's just get off of. That was WTF OMG, guys.
Yes.
Smokey.
What up?
Do you have something that I need to explain?
I do.
All right.
And here I am being totally unprepared. I'm going to bring it up here in just a second. I sent you the mugshot of the week. We're doing celebrity mugshots now because we ran out of just hilarious ones.
Oh, we didn't run out. We'll be back. We just figured we'd
Oh yeah, there's more being produced all the time.
100%. And I don't know if did you watch the last podcast all the way through, or at least
well, I listened to it because it's kind of hard to watch while I'm driving, but yeah.
So you pointed, it's gonna be right here. That was pretty dope. I did that. All right, so let's see, what does Smokey have? Oh, epic! Yes. Dude, this is an epic mugshot. This is a
very famous one.
Okay, if you guys don't know who this is the King of Soul.
Yes, it is.
Mr.
Living in America.
Dang. What, what's another one of his songs? His biggest song.
I Feel Good. Nah. How did it go?
Get up, get on up.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, y'all, this is the legendary James Brown.
Yes.
All right.
And James Brown looks a little disheveled right here. Rest in peace, by the way. Great James Brown.
And also, we need to give a shout out because he is from Augusta, Georgia. AUG. But, all right, so looking at this picture, I don't know the charge. Do you know the charge?
This was, he was charged with domestic violence in 2004 in Aikens County.
Georgia?
I don't know where it was at. Where was it? Do you remember where it was at?
No, I don't. But, okay, looking at this, you don't arrest James Brown, okay? You have to be
That's like arresting Willie Nelson.
You don't do that. That's like arresting Snoop Dogg for smoking weed.
Exactly. Well, that's what they did to Willie Nelson. They raided his bus and found weed. What do you expect?
Right. I don't know. So, but looking at this James Brown picture, all right. So, first and foremost, we all know, again, God rest the dead.
Now, first of all, we can't conflate domestic violence with smoking weed. But
no.
He says this was a more serious charge.
Okay, looking at this picture, he's smiling. Mm-hmm. He's like, yeah, y'all can go ahead and get this mugshot. Wow! Picturing, get up. Y'all get on up. I signed a few autographs before I get on out of here.
I bet he did, too.
But after he did that, everybody knows that James Brown was a huge blowhead. Mm-hmm. Did coke all the time.
Oh, yeah.
For people out there who don't know, there's an interview. Did you see that interview?
Oh, the one where he went all crazy and started talking about weird.
Yeah,
and he started singing in the middle.
Up out of his head.
I remember that interview. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but looking at this James Brown picture, man, I mean, he's James Brown. His hair.
It was supposed to be his comeback tour.
Yeah, he was like, "Well, I'm sexy, baby."
He's like, "Y'all want to talk about domestic violence? I'm here to sing.
I look good. I feel good.
Yeah.
But you can't. I mean, looking at this picture, of course his hair is all over the place, but it's James Brown, man.
He might have been on a bender at this time.
Yeah, he might have been coming off, and she might have was like, "You gonna clean up your mess?" And he was like, "Get up, get on out.
This is my house. Get on out."
For real. But
I could only imagine every conversation he has is in song.
Right.
And he does the dance.
Here. Let me go to the grocery store and let me get a pack of cigarettes. And you got any beer back?
Oh, James Brown.
Man, rest in peace, James Brown.
One of the greatest musicians of all time.
For real. So, I mean, anything you want to add to this?
No, that's pretty simple.
Yeah, I mean,
whatever he did, I mean, if it was truly domestic violence, I don't remember the exact story as it happened back then, but if he was wrong, and he should have been arrested, I imagine, but iconic.
Yes. Rest in peace to James Brown.
Yes.
Smokey.
Hopefully all wrongs were resolved.
Right. I mean, we don't condone.
No, not at all.
Like that, but.
Yes. Yeah. What's up?
Let's get into some good old-fashioned trash talk.
Booyah! Get on up. I feel good.
Yeah.
Prednisone.
How do you get it inside of your skin?
Through what was the technical term?
They have no clue what we're talking about right now. Anyway, y'all, let's get into some good old
absorption.
Yeah.
Let's get into some good old skin absorption.
Absorption talk. Yeah. Smokey,
what's up?
Do you know anything about your third eye?
I want to bring up something right before we start.
Okay.
There is a new case of public shaming going on with an iconic figure. If you watch wrestling throughout the 80s and 90s, everyone knows who James E. Cornette is.
Jim Cornette?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jim Cornette was an iconic manager in wrestling and a comedian as well.
Who are a few people he managed? He was didn't he always
the Midnight Express?
He always wore a white
Vader.
suit, right?
Well, he wore all different color suits, but there was that iconic where he wore the white suit and then he got busted open and bled all over it, and then he wore the bloody suit the next week on wrestling. And
what's going on with him?
So he's been in and out of wrestling ever since the 80s, right? Mm-hmm. And it might have even started in the 70s, but he, who Smashing Pumpkins is, right?
Of course.
You know who Billy Corgan is?
Of course.
So he owns a wrestling company called the NWA out of Atlanta.
Wait, Billy Corgan?
Yes. Billy Corgan is huge in wrestling.
Really?
Has been for a long time, yes. So he was involved in TNA and a few other wrestling organizations like Beyond Wrestling or whatever that he owned. Mm-hmm. So he owns the NWA, and he runs a wrestling show now called NWA Power. And it's a throwback to the old studio wrestling days, and it's very retro. But anyway, that's kind of beside the point. Jim Cornette, was the announcer they had because they liked that old school NWA, and Jim Cornette was a big part of the NWA back in the day. Mm-hmm. And WCW. The NWA was bought out by WCW at some point, but so he had the reiteration, and he had Jim Cornette announcing. So he's being publicly shamed, as we see so much these days, right? Where everyone just jumps on him, like the social justice warriors, very polarizing figure. So a lot of the New Age fans hate Jim Cornette because he will talk crap about everybody's favorite wrestler. He doesn't care because he's one of the greatest trash talkers in history.
He is a trash talker.
Yes, for sure.
Go ahead.
And he's a good comedian. I mean, he's funny, but
Stone Cold Steve Austin, worst wrestler in history.
he will. He actually likes Stone Cold, but he will say things like that. You know, he's known for trashing the Ultimate Warrior and guys like that. So he's doing one of the recent shows of NWA. And he spit out this line during the broadcast. He said, Murdoch, which is one of the wrestlers, I forgot his first name, but it's Murdoch. He said, this is the line. Now, you tell me what you think about this. Being half black, what do you think about this?
Before you say it, was this on live TV?
It was not live.
But basically.
But, yeah, it was broadcasted, yeah.
All right, go ahead.
So, he spit out the line. Murdoch is so tough that he could drive a motorcycle through Ethiopia with a bucket of chicken strapped to his back. What do you think?
Oh my God. Murdoch is so tough. He could drive through Ethiopia on a motorcycle with a bucket of chicken strapped to his back.
Yes. You being half black, what response do you...
Doesn't bother me at all, to be honest with you.
Okay. It's not inherently racist, but it is racial, right?
It's racial.
Yes.
No, I wouldn't even consider it racial because the stereotype of black people liking chicken is an American
thing. That's what I was saying too.
Right.
I mean, it was more on, remember back in the early 90s and they would do these infomercials about starving people in Ethiopia. Right. It was a big ordeal back in the 90s.
Damn, that's a tough son of a gun if you can drive through. God dang.
Because you're going to have a village chasing you.
All right,
So, yeah, there were starving kids, and it was a rehashed hacky joke from the 90s when this thing with Ethiopia was going on. And so he spits that out. And being the polarizing figure that he is, they jumped all over him. I mean, it was, picked up by all the news sources, TMZ, blah, blah, blah. So he's been ostracized, and he got fired.
For that? Using that? Wow.
For that line. And, they're running articles about, the obituary of Jim Cornette. He'll never work in wrestling again, blah, blah, blah. All because these SJWs, they...
Social justice warriors.
Yeah, are accusing him of being racist now.
What do you think about it?
It may have been a poor joke. I mean, it's an old hacky joke, because that was something that happened in the 90s. And he's actually used the line way back in the day on other wrestling programs.
Jim Cornette?
Yes.
And they didn't trip on it back then?
No, because back then you could do comedy without getting in trouble for it.
Right.
That's the problem that I see right now is why is comedy something that gets you ostracized these days?
Well, what's crazy is they say comedy is the last form of free speech.
Exactly.
Have you heard that?
Yeah.
And the reason that is because they literally can say whatever they want.
Exactly.
They can say whatever they want. And if you get offended, that's kind of on you. I mean, Jim Cornette is known for saying outlandish.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure you can give me another example of something crazy he said.
Oh, yeah. Even during the broadcast, he'll say something like, that's,
Be careful what you're about to say.
Yeah, some of it's hard to say, but, he'll say, this guy's slicker than excursion on a gold tooth, which is a line that he likes to use, but he don't say excursion. He says...
I thought you was about to incorporate wet back in there.
But no, he doesn't say a lot of racial things, but that happened to be one that he has used.
So let me ask you, do you think he meant it as a racist term?
No, not at all. He's a super liberal. He's big in the Democratic Party, and he was in love with Barack Obama. He hates Republicans. He's real big in the Democratic Party.
But see, you're
so. Well, just saying that he was a huge fan of Barack Obama would kind of lead you to believe he's not really racist,
yeah, but
right?
see, you can't do that. You're equating being a Democrat being cool with black people. You can't do that.
No, but if he if you're inherently racist, though, wouldn't you have a problem with your president being black?
Yes, I agree. But because you are a Democrat doesn't mean you're not a racist. No, I was just
using that as a term to why he would love Barack Obama.
Well, you said he hates Republicans.
Yes.
Which,
by far.
But someone could take that as Republican being majority white. Mm-hmm. So someone could take it like, you know what I mean? Like,
there is the Black Republican movement also.
Right, Candace Owens. But that's, in a nutshell, that's kind of like you saying, I'm not racist, I have a black friend.
Yeah, I mean, that is kind of, conflating the two, yes.
Yeah, but I'm not getting on you, but I don't think he should have been fired for that. I don't think he should be fined for that. Mm-hmm. It was a freaking joke.
Yeah. And the bad thing is, I think that he did these tapings like 2 months ago, and they were in the can, and people were editing it. They went through there and, did the whole thing and then put it out with no one saying anything about it.
The person who put it out should be fired.
You think so?
100%.
Yeah.
Jim Cornette he's hired to be an analyst. He's hired to speak.
And to be polarizing.
That's his job.
Yes.
So, and that's why I asked you if this was live. Mm-hmm. Because if it was live, I can understand a little bit more.
Yeah.
But because this is pre-programming, the person who edits it, the person who... Guys, when you edit something, you listen to the same line 15 times.
Yes, exactly.
So
at some point, if you think, oh, this is too controversial, shouldn't you take it out? And, just from doing what we do right here, doing this podcast, every now and then, when you're recording so much and we talk so much that every now and then a line slips out and you go, wow, I probably shouldn't have said that.
Oh, yeah. Go back to some of our first episodes.
And it doesn't mean you're racist.
No, man. No, not at all.
I mean, every now and then you think, oh, this could be funny. It's
it's
comedy.
Spur of the moment, man.
Yeah.
Literally, comedians have it the best, but at the same time, they have it the worst. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a thin line. I mean, it's literally the last form of free speech. It literally is.
But after Dave Chappelle making the statement that he made,
I can give you another example, but go ahead.
But after, I would think that we're to a point now where comedy is not something that can get you ostracized anymore. I would think people are finally getting past this SJW era and seeing comedy for what it is.
Right. Well, if you look at, as crazy as it sounds, I really think the race of or the color of the person saying the joke has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
For instance, Dave Chappelle could go up there and be like, "What is it with white people always doing this? Y'all, you a cracker. You a cracker." Mm-hmm. Now get a white person on stage and say, "What is it with all these black people getting up here? You're a."
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Just said by a different race, which I don't really agree with because
I think it should be equal.
Equal. Yeah. But now remember Roseanne? Mm-hmm. Remember what she said?
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's the same thing. I'm sure she's not racist. She's the furthest thing from it.
Yeah.
She did an interview on Joe Rogan podcast, and she's the furthest thing from it. She was on Ambien when she tweeted that. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, when she said the monkey joke or whatever.
About
somebody, was it
Michelle Obama?
Was it Michelle Obama?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm half black. Michelle Obama does look like an ape. I'm sorry. I mean,
you can say that. I can't say that.
Yes, you can.
No, see, that's the problem. Is I can't say
Why?
that. Because of public shaming now.
The public.
You know what I told you before? Like, if I was president and people start bringing up like old things that I said somewhere on social media or through a podcast, and they were like, "Oh, look, he said this. He's a racist." You know what I would do? I would come right out and be like, "Yeah, I said that. That was a funny joke.
That was funny. It was a joke.
Deal with it. I said
That's
it.
What I'm saying.
What are you gonna do?"
So, does she not look like a gorilla?
I don't think she does necessarily.
You are so playing.
No, I don't think she really does. I've seen.
She's cute now. Don't get it wrong. I definitely.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think she looks like a gorilla.
Dude, there's memes of like her having prints down there.
Having what?
Like D prints.
What?
You know what a D print is?
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's pictures of her with a D print. I'm serious.
Really?
Dead serious, yeah.
Okay.
Guys, we're getting way off topic here.
All right.
Way off topic. All right.
We need to tap into our third eye. But just to wrap that up, put a bow on it, man. I don't think he should have been publicly shamed and ostracized and prevented from doing his craft and making his money the way he makes it just because somebody thought that joke was not funny.
Right. I agree 100%.
People need to stop being so sensitive.
Man, guys, listen, if somebody's watching this right now and if you're computer savvy by any means, Smokey and I need we do the podcast, but if we could get someone to take clips, like that, what we just did would be a perfect clip.
Oh, yeah.
And then have a best of the week. You know, like we need someone out there that can take individual clips of certain segments and just post them up, you know?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
If you guys are interested, let me know.
Yeah, definitely.
But with that being said, what do you know what a third eye is? Not the pineal gland. I know you can equate the two.
Yes.
But your third eye.
Yeah.
What do you know about it?
That is when you close your eyes and you can actually see pictures, that is coming from your third eye. That's what they call it. I mean, it's being able to see something without your visual eyes. They call that your third eye, when you can see pictures in your brain. And, you know, you want to leave the pineal gland out of it, but that's where theoretically these thoughts come from. These visualizations come from your third eye, which it actually comes from your amygdala.
Amygdala? What the heck is that?
I mean, in technical terms, you're never going to hear a brain scientist. We talked about the amygdala, and
yeah, I remember that. But
that's when in Deja Vu, that's where your visual, it uses your temporal lobes to send from your amygdala into your temporal lobes to actually create the image and recreate something you've seen before.
So it's basically a hallucination without seeing it.
Well, with seeing it, yeah.
But just without your own eyes.
Yeah, without your own eyes, yes.
Huh. Okay, so this is, yes, we're going to tie the pineal gland into it. But the reason, all right, let me ask you, if you had the opportunity to open your third eye, would you?
Yeah, I would think so.
With both eyes open, you would.
I mean, how are you suggesting, like, through meditation?
Well, there is this thing going on to where you can actually do it. Like yogis and really Buddhist monks, they do it.
Through meditation.
But they do it to a point where they can do it without their eyes being closed. To where they can see basically beyond the veil with their eyes being open.
Yes.
And a lot of people say with that being done, you're opening a portal to
another dimension, or
which could
an alternate reality.
Exactly, where aliens may be able to contact you, where demons might be able to contact you, where angels may be able to contact you. So the thing is yes, you might be getting profound knowledge. You might be getting incredible ideas, interesting thoughts, wonderful ideas that you can just manifest into anything you want. But at the same time, you're getting some of the terrible, most vivid nightmares you've ever seen. So it's a balance. Are you willing to balance that out to say, yes, I'll take the fascinating ideas that could make me the next Elon Musk. But the downfall of me being the next Elon Musk is when I'm at home by myself, I'm literally surrounded by shadow people. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, this sounds like the description people give when they take ayahuasca or DMT. And, you know, and maybe that's what it is when the monks or whoever are meditating and they go into this trance to be able to see these things, they're actually triggering their brain to produce more DMT. Now, I guess the debate comes down to is where are these visions actually coming from? Is it coming from your subconscious, or is it actually coming from an alternate dimension, an alternate reality?
Would you not throw your pineal gland in there?
Yeah, well, I mean, the pineal gland, that's see, that's the debate I have, you know, because there's a part of me that you know, wants to believe the science of it and the skeptic side of it, and then there's a part of me that wants to believe the New Age spiritualism aspect of it. And then I have this debate inside me that goes, well, what is actually causing it? Is it just nothing? Is it not an alternate reality? And you're just creating these things through your imagination in your brain? Or are we actually seeing beyond the veil?
What do you think?
I don't know. I really don't know. What do you think?
I think you can kind of tie it back to if you guys can Google it right now, the Eye of Horus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Everyone knows it. A lot of people nowadays are using it for an occultish symbol or Illuminati symbol. Yes. And if you ask me, that kind of ties in, because nowadays, if you just talk to the normal, just to a layman person, and you mention Illuminati, occult, they're gonna think one eye, and when they see Illuminati one eye,
they
usually
think the Eye of Horus,
right? And that usually coincides with bad or negative or selling your soul. Mm-hmm. How come it never equates to the actual thing, which Illuminati means? Enlightened.
To be illuminated.
Right.
Yes.
So why is it that, and why is it the ancient Egyptians knew about, and if guys literally Googled the pineal gland, it looks like the Eye of Horus. I mean, it literally is an Eye of Horus. How did they know that?
That is a mystery of. Well, there's a lot of things that the Egyptians knew that studies are just now finding to be true. But they knew it back then somehow.
Like the pyramids lining up with Orion's belt?
Yes, exactly. And it's so amazing. The first thing I would think of is the Egyptians were trying to figure out how, when I actually go into a deep meditation, how am I seeing things that are not actually in my physical reality outside of my brain? And they're like, okay, so we have this gland in our brain that looks like the Eye of Horus.
Wait.
The symbol that they use for the Eye of Horus. So when I'm meditating, I'm actually seeing through Horus's eye.
How did they know that was in there, though? You know, they did a lot of sacrifices back then.
Yeah, they did a lot of dissection, of course. But how did they conflate it to actually that's where it's coming from?
Right. Why not?
Because they didn't have any neuroscientists actually figuring these things out and how neurons work, of course.
What made them think this thing inside of your brain versus your left lung? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. They figured out that obviously your central nervous system is all controlled by your brain. And
how did they figure that out, though?
It just baffles me, man.
It's crazy, man. I mean,
something that we took thousands of years later to actually come to a conclusion.
How, if you had to put money on it, how do you think they knew that?
Put money on it?
Because it was accurate, bro.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that there was a civilization that before time that actually knew so much more than we know right now.
A civilization of this earth?
Yeah, on this earth. I think there was an advanced civilization at one time before a great disaster that knocked us back to the proverbial Stone Age.
Right.
You know, that there was an advanced society. You know, you hear about Atlantis and Lemura, you know, and think these people were so advanced. You know, they had knowledge, they had science, they somehow had this connection between science and spiritualism that worked in conjunction with each other.
Right.
And they figured out these great and miraculous things. I mean, we still don't know how they built the pyramids, right?
I'm glad you're right.
Maybe this knowledge was from a civilization that was so advanced, and it was passed down through to the Egyptians of our current era, you know?
So here's the conspiracy theorist in me. Could our ancestors, could the enlightened ones knew that the Egyptians were so smart that they knew how to open a third eye, that they connected the Eye of Horus with our pineal gland, that they knew how to build massive structures such as the pyramids, that they knew how to connect each pyramid with Orion's belt. Could the illuminated ones of that era say, you know what, these people were so smart, there's no way we can have our future population be that smart, so let's dumb it down and let's just make it all coincidence. Y'all, we don't have an explanation for this. It was just coincidence.
Yeah.
But in reality, there might be like maybe they do know. Yeah, they had it all figured out, but we're not gonna tell y'all that because if you find that out, then you'll be able to do that. You know what I mean? Like you'll know what your human mind. Apparently, the human mind can do anything.
Yeah, apparently so. I mean, and we're finding out more and more of the capabilities all the time. But what I think is more likely, at least in my own scenario that I make up, is that every civilization eventually works itself up to a point to where it destroys the civilization through technology, through discovery, through just evolving to where you can create these mystical, magical things that would seem completely impossible to a lesser society. But eventually, you get to a point where you destroy yourself.
Because you're so intelligent?
Yes. I mean, yeah.
Like the Hadron Collider?
Yeah, I mean, that's a step in the right direction, yes. But I think there was probably a civilization that went way past particle accelerators and things like that. I think they were on to astral travel.
Right.
And,
do you think let's taking the ancient Egyptians into it, do you think they had their third eye open? Do you think the reason their third eye was open all the time was because they had no phones, they had no computers, they had nothing but time?
It could be. That could be, and we have just devolved ourselves through technology.
Right. I mean, basically, our phone is our brain now.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't use it, you lose it. We eventually get so lazy to where we're not even using our brains anymore and devolving over time instead of evolving.
Would you say you're one of those people
that are devolving?
Yeah.
I would like to think not. I mean,
I would have to agree that me and you both are.
Well, as a society as a whole, yes, we're falling right into the line of, what society is doing. I mean, the majority of everyone on Earth is.
All right, see, we're getting somewhere here now because I tend to look at you as a go against the norm kind of person. Would you say that was something safe to say?
Yeah.
All right. So whenever we want something Googled, instead of you going off of memory, instead of you pulling a book out, what's the first thing you do?
You look it up on your phone.
So you being the type of person to go against the norm, why do you go straight to your phone?
Just to have that verification. So, but especially when we're doing this right here, I like to, I can go ahead and tell you, we were talking about Munchausen syndrome. Like I told you the definition of what it is, but then there was that piece in my mind that goes, oh, there's a lot of people watching this right now.
Right.
What if I had something wrong?
Right. You're giving out false information.
Yeah. If you go back, 20, 30 years, I could have just spit that out right as it was and never thought twice about it.
So, false information then.
Well, yeah, but it wouldn't have been false in that situation. But every now and then you could run across something that's completely false and share it with people, not realizing that it's false.
All right, so with that being said, when do you think podcasts became big? When do you think podcasts actually became
when it really started blowing up? People were doing it as
give me a year.
Like the early 2000s.
All right.
But when it really started blowing up was around 2011.
So do you think the reason it wasn't around as much in the 80s and the 90s is because we didn't have access to these phones, so we could give out instant information? Because there was AM radio. I mean, you had talk shows, but
there was only a select group of people that were sharing information at that time.
And if you ask me, it was all controlled, man.
Yeah, for sure.
It was all controlled.
And we see how fast people are evolving knowledgeably through the technology that we have right now. Because if you look at the next generation that's coming up past us, when we were in school, before we had a phone where we could look up anything we wanted instantly.
The encyclopedia.
Yeah, and we only carried a certain amount of knowledge in our brain. But I think the next generation, it could go either way. It could be like you said, where they just get lazier and lazier and they don't store any information in their brain anymore. Or they could actually be absorbing more knowledge and more by the day because they have instant access to all knowledge almost that's ever been recorded.
But looking at society now as a whole, you would have to say that they're advancing. Because look at what we have now versus the 80s. Now, as far as intelligence, maybe they're not as intelligent.
Yeah, maybe they're losing common sense, but gaining knowledge.
Knowledge, right.
Yes.
This is kind of not really off topic, but Do you remember being in high school, taking a test? Could you imagine if we had our phones taking a test?
You would never fail.
Now imagine that, bro. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So imagine all these kids going through school getting straight A's. And it's not because you studied. It's not because you did research. It's because you said, hey, Google.
Mm-hmm.
So you're portraying that you're smart, but in all actuality, it's just Google.
Yeah, but doesn't actually, when you look it up, don't you absorb some of that information?
Well, I guess you're right. You still, I mean, it's basically research. It's the same thing as research, right?
Well, that's exactly what it is.
I guess
like people like to discredit, like, oh, you didn't do any research for that. You watched a YouTube video.
Isn't that research?
Yes, that is research. Yes.
Well, I don't know.
But I mean, there is the other side to that, and to tie it all in, there's also fake news. People love to spread fake news.
Why? Why do you think that is?
I've wondered that a lot.
I think I know exactly why.
Why?
Let's look at it from a survivalist standpoint. Okay, in order to live, you have to eat healthy and drink water. Now, occasionally, man, that Snicker bar looks good. You don't need that Snicker bar. So the steak, the potatoes, and the water is the real news versus a Snickers bar being the fake news. So it's just kind of candy for your brain almost, you know?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that. That it's fun to read something that's completely
absurd,
not normal. Yes, absurdity. Yes, I mean, it is fun to read that stuff. I mean, that's why people share these outlandish stories, you know, of some dude smearing feces inside of a school in the middle of the night.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Tying that back into your third eye, though.
Maybe there is this abundance of knowledge out there, and maybe that's how. Maybe it's the Akashic Records or whatever you want to call it.
Akashic Records?
Yes.
What is that?
It's supposedly a abundance of knowledge that is stored throughout the space and time somehow that people can eventually find out a way to tap into to where they basically know everything.
And it's called what?
The Akashic Records.
Now, the burning bush in the Bible was set on fire. What was the name of that bush?
The acacia bush.
You see a correlation here?
Yes, I do. Yes.
You get where I'm going?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
I'm just saying that.
I think that's. I'd be willing to bet that that's how they got the name for the Akashic Records. Because Moses got all that information from the burning bush,
which was an acacia bush.
Yes.
Wow, dude. That now you can just talk about religion. Like, scientists had to make up that word. What is it? The Akashic.
The Akashic Records. I think it was more of a spiritualism thing. I don't think there's too many like actuals like
scientists.
Yeah, scientists that are out there spreading. But if you want, I can give you
go ahead
definition.
Go ahead and pull your third eye out.
Exactly.
This is his third eye right here.
I got my third eye right here in my palm.
See, now this is what's crazy. My third eye is dead right now, so I can't pull out. You know what I mean? This is literally our third eye right here.
But if we can tap into that Akashic Record somehow without using phones, we could have all the knowledge of the universe available to us.
Within the next 20 years, you will have an Akashic Record plant in your brain.
Yeah,
I promise
possible,
you.
Yeah.
You will have a plant.
You think it'll be as soon as 20? What do you mean, like an actual physical?
Like a chip. A chip to where it's literally either on your. I mean, they have it on your wrist now. What do you think? I think 60. Just imagine what 100 years from now is going to be like, bro.
All right. There's the official definition of the Akashic Records. And theosophy and anthro. Those words.
All right. Theosophy, that's the study of religion.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, that's theology.
But anything with THE is
spiritualism.
Religion,
yes.
Same thing. Okay.
The Akashic Records are a compendium of all human events, thoughts, words, emotions, and intent, to ever have occurred in the past, present, or future. So basically, everything that has been thought
is part of the Akashic Records.
Is part of the Akashic Records. And that's the theory, is that somehow through meditation, through our third eye, through the pineal gland, however we get there, through DMT, we can tap into this knowledge that is everything that is God. See what I'm saying? So, I mean, if you want to open your third eye, basically you have to meditate.
You think that's the only way to do it?
I don't know. Maybe not. I mean, I think some people are probably born with it.
True.
And DMT,
yes. That could be a...
But see, I think what meditation does is it forces your brain to produce more DMT.
Right. So your third eye could literally just be DMT.
Yes.
Literally. I mean, that goes back to the pineal gland, which it's been proven, I want to say DMT comes from the pineal gland.
Yeah, I think that is a theory, yes.
But this is my thing. I'm just crazy in the way I think sometimes, man, is because you just said that opening your third eye gives you so much knowledge, makes you so smart. There's a drug you could go buy right now that will let you open that.
And it's
illegal. You cannot be that smart.
Yeah, because they're scared of what this could do.
Why? Don't you want smart people?
Do you want superhumans?
Yes.
We do. But do the people who are trying to control other people want it?
The Illuminati?
Not necessarily. Yes, okay.
The elites.
The elites, yes. That's what it is.
I don't see why would you?
Because if we all used the DMT, if we used our third eye, if we tapped into the Akashic Records, we would all be the Illuminati.
Okay, what's wrong with that?
We would be the illuminated ones.
What's wrong with that?
I see advancement of society. But if you're someone in power and your main objective is to control the populace, then you don't want them.
Why?
Tapping into that.
Why?
Because knowledge is power.
Mother freaking Smokey just did it again, boy. Wowzers. Yeah, man. They say.
I mean, why did the plantation owners not educate the slaves?
You just took the thing out of my head, bro. It's not. You can take my clothes. You can take my house. You can take my shoes. You can take my car. You can take my money. There's one thing you can never take from me.
Yes.
It's my knowledge.
Yes.
You cannot take away what I know.
Yes.
So that's probably why.
That's it. We have solved the mystery of the world.
That was crazy.
Yes.
Anything else you got for the people out there, Smoke Dizzle?
That's it. We're not telling you what to believe. You believe what you want to believe. But it's very, very interesting to think about.
Yeah, this is another one of those episodes where it just takes my mind to a whole nother place.
Yeah, you probably got a little DMT rush through that.
Yeah, for real.
That's what your brain being blown is.
Oh, wow. It's blowing up DMT.
You're creating, yes.
Wow.
Creating DMT. You're creating new neurons. You're creating new neural pathways. Your brain is blown.
With that being said, everybody out there, now that your brains are officially blown, we want to thank y'all for checking out the 47th episode of the podcast. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, share, comment, and hit the bell.
Please, for God's sake, hit that bell. And please, for God's sake, leave us a comment.
Please, that'd be greatly appreciated. With that being said, my name is Behringer Hollywood 6.
And I am Larry Smokey Ramirez Cowan.
And we are over and out.
Deuces.